Several new lawsuits have been filed accusing Southern California Edison of causing the Eaton fire in Los Angeles.
The lawsuits brought by some of the victims of the LA wildfire allege in part the utility company failed to de-energize all of its electrical equipment, and that's despite red flag weather warnings. Edison's CEO tells ABC News that he hasn't seen evidence of electrical anomalies or evidence that their equipment caused the fire, but they haven't been able to inspect the site yet, and investigations are underway. And joining us now with the latest on this story and more details, ABC News contributor and attorney Brian Buckmire. Brian, good to see you.
Thanks for having me, guys.
So we're looking at least 4 separate lawsuits.
Yeah, and at least 4 so far, because there could be more in the future. But each one of the lawsuits, some represented by the same attorneys, are making the same allegations of negligence, violations of public health and utility codes, among others. They're basically saying that SCE, or the South California Edison company, did not properly de-energize those above power lines above the Eaton Canyon. They did not maintain them in a way that could make them safe. Some of the lawsuits even saying they cut corners in order to save money, but ended up being a detriment to the community and causing these fires.
Some of these suits contain early images of where these homeowners and renters think that this fire began. Some say they witnessed sparks by power lines. If this turns out to be true, I mean, how big of a lawsuit could this be?
Yeah, so the lawsuit has a lot of evidence, or lawsuits, sorry, have a lot of evidence in it. They have photos, they have still shots of videos suggesting that there are videos. And as you pointed out, eyewitness accounts saying that they saw at the base of some of these power lines the sparks that ignited the fire around 6:15 p.m. on January 7th, just moments when we first heard about the first sparks of this fire. If this is true, I would expect that these lawsuits would be successful, but also more people would probably start their own individual lawsuits or potentially start class action lawsuits. And of course, unfortunately, a lot of people lost their lives to these fires. We could potentially also see wrongful death lawsuits amounting to hundreds of millions of dollars in both compensatory and punitive damages.
And we should say ABC News received a new statement from Southern California Edison saying in part, SCE understands that a lawsuit related to the Eaton fire has been filed, but SCE has not yet been served with the complaint. SCE will review the complaint when it is received. The cause of the fire continues to be under investigation.
And you talked about more people possibly filing lawsuits. Where should they start? I mean, it's David versus Goliath.
Yeah, if you're thinking from a legal standpoint, what you want to do is catalog and document. What did you lose in that fire in terms of clothing, personal items, things of that nature? Go through your photos if you have them electronically and see what was in the home at the time, but also take photos, videos of any of the damages that you saw there and try to collect them. And if you feel that you do have a claim, reach out to a local attorney and see whether or not the information you can present to them can amount to a claim. But of course, always, aside from the legal, make sure that you're safe, your loved ones are safe, and of course your neighbors as well.
Yeah, that definitely is the most important thing. For so many of these people, there was no notice for them to get out of their house. They literally had no time to grab anything. Is there any kind of recourse for them to get some sort of financial back for the things that they've lost in these fires?
So we have heard reporting that a number of insurers have kind of backed out of that area. We do know that FEMA, as well as local FEMA-esque support through various funding is possible. I myself checked out the California Gov /LA Fires website. They have a number of resources that you can look into, way of getting alerts, and also connecting with loved ones and neighbors to see how they're doing as well. Looking through different avenues to try to help the insured or the people who are not fully insured. There are different resources out there that you can look to, both in the state and federal resources.
Yeah, talk about a headache on top of another headache.
Yeah, navigating all of that. Brian Buckmire, thank you so much for your help today.
My pleasure.